Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning,
Mr. Efeni.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr.
You have not
Efeni.
greeted OG.
He's waiting for it.
Good morning, OG.
How are you, Mr. Efeni? Good
the
morning.
one known as OG Nika.
You
You have to tell the whole world.
That's the full name. It's a Nigerian name from Delta State.
Yes, it is.
Good.
Yes.
Now, let's start this review with these day newspapers. The lead story, COVID-19, another total lockdown unlikely, says federal government. Rules out resumption of sporting activities for now. With 681 new cases, incidences rise to 14,554. 4,494 discharged, 387 deaths. NCDC testing capacity hits 10,000 daily, says aviation authorities to determine flight resumption. Now, if we look at how other papers are updating this COVID-19 with their lead stories, of course, the Punch newspaper, PTF meets governors. Security agencies as COVID-19 cases surge. Record 681 new infections emerged nationwide as total cases reach 14,554. Now, the Nation newspaper, government, schools to remain shut. There's need to shield senior citizens, others with underlying ailments. Rising virus positive cases, worrisome. And of course, Vanguard looking at the impact. COVID-19, millions more will sink into extreme poverty. That's the federal government. Unemployment rise by 33.6% as Nigeria loses 185 billion naira daily. Reps seek radical measures to avert recession, pass 37 bills. Now, if we look at what these days is reporting, despite the spike, the highest one-day spike, again, yesterday, that is why creating new record of one-day spike. Despite that, the federal government is saying that it is very unlikely that there will be another total lockdown. Well, I don't know whether that is the way to go, but everybody should be worried that there is continuous rise in cases of infection. Yes, we are testing more now, 10,000 daily, but we have shortage of bed spaces. Many people will have to be treated at home, as has been suggested by the NCDC. That should worry anybody in Nigeria today. Ruben, Oji, and Rufai.
Well, I'll say that I think that the federal government is on point, saying that there should not be another total lockdown. I don't think that there should be a total lockdown. I think the initial total lockdown has taken effect, has taken its course, and I think that at this point we should be concentrating on more testing.
Well, the federal government says that more testing is being done, 10,000 per day. Even that will not meet the target that they promised of about 2 million. Within 3 months. But Dr. Iheko has made the point that the spike that we're witnessing is not unexpected. According to him, with the easing of the lockdown, definitely there will be a greater community transmission, as it were, of the disease. But I don't know whether it is right for government to now say the federal government of Nigeria is not contemplating another lockdown. What we're told previously is that, look, 20 local governments are responsible for about 50% of the transmission. Is it possible to take a more strategic measure and say perhaps in terms of the spread, the spike, the seroprevalence, the location, government can say, okay, we will decide to check the community transmission, lock down this particular part of the country while allowing, other places where you have very low transmission to continue to open up. But to just say that, look, we're not going to have any lockdown again, doesn't look quite strategic to me. Because we've seen in countries like South Korea, like Israel, where there have been reversals in some places. So I don't think that they are following the science in that regard. And then again, when the president spoke this morning, he says that, the country and our democracy is under the threat of COVID-19. And he ended that national broadcast on a note of hope. Yes, Nigerians, we're very resilient people, we're very optimistic people, but it is important that in all areas of our lives, including this pandemic, that government does not drop the ball.
And it has to be said strongly that the NCDC should also come out to tell us the recent spike in deaths. In the space of 24 hours, we had about 17 deaths. That spiked the number of deaths. Is it because we are testing? Is it because we're having more people with underlying cases? What's the reason for that? And I think the NCDC should come out with a very robust modeling system that should tell us when we are probably going to peak, when we are probably going to have a second wave. Because as of now, we keep saying, oh, we have not peaked yet. When are we going to peak? When are we going to have a second wave? How can we plan for this? Modeling systems go on all around the world. So we need a national comprehensive modeling system to be able to make us plan for all of this. Plan for things, for instance, like on the 21st of June, when airlines will come out with their guidelines, and probably the airspace will reopen, and the intercity lockdown will be eased. We need to plan for all of this because this is biting hard. I'll give you an instance, Mr. Efeni. Somebody traveled from Benin to Lagos, and he paid 21,000 naira because of the intercity lockdown. It's biting hard on people.
That person defying interstate bans.
Oh, yeah.
And bribing security agencies. I think that you should put it in proper context.
Yes, that's what he did.
Yes.
But look at the effect. 21,000 naira from Benin to Lagos.
That's
Well,
why
it's going to
I
get
don't think
worse.
we can
It will
afford
get
another
worse.
total.
Well, I hope somebody will not also say we should leave the interstate ban, because it means persons will be moving from those local governments that are the concentration right now into other parts. Despite the lockdown, people are still moving, compromising security agents. So we shouldn't always blame the security agents, but we should also blame Nigerians who deliberately go into the road with the hope of bribing security agents to beat the interstate ban. So, well, we have a lot to deal with, as we can see. But in terms of the job issue, yesterday the Committee on Economic Sustainability Plan, headed by the Vice President, presented their report, and it is quite chilling. 39.4 million Nigerians going to be jobless if we cannot arrest this situation by the end of the year. That's 33.6% unemployment rate. It's quite serious. Yes. Now, if we just move over to other subjects, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria must restructure to dignify June 12th. Yes. Emeka Anyoku, one-time Secretary General of the Commonwealth, is the one making that pronouncement. And of course, others seem to agree with it. Anyoku, Efeni restate calls for true federalism. Atiku urges citizens to evaluate leadership recruitment. Tinubu lauds Buhari, heroes and heroes of democracy. Well, today, you can see the photograph of MKO Abiola in front of the Guardian newspaper. You want to say is the reason for today's celebration. And all of us who trooped out to vote for him on that day, and the fact that his heroism of laying his life for the progress of democracy, for restoration of democracy, because he could have gone home and say, I'm cool, I'm fine, let me go and stay with my family. But he held on tight with that Ekwetedo declaration, and today we remember him as the hero of democracy, hence today is Democracy Day.
Certainly, Bashorun Abiola is the symbol, the icon, the hero, the martyr of Nigeria's democratic progress. On June 12, 1993, Nigerians queued up behind him to embrace his message of hope, and they voted overwhelmingly for him, despite the fact that it was a Muslim ticket. People thought that, that kind of ticket would not be accepted by a religiously divided country like Nigeria. But it didn't matter, because Chief Abiola preached hope. He talked about alleviating poverty. And in terms of his personal example, he had an excellent run in the public space, not just in Nigeria, but also the whole of Africa and globally, as a progressive intellectual and businessman and philanthropist and supporter of worthy causes. Now, June 12 was a turning point for Nigeria, but it's unfortunate that that election was annulled. Today, President Buhari addressed the country, but I was looking for a paragraph on Chief Abiola in that, well put together speech. I must say, it's very well put together, but I didn't see that paragraph, and I think that that's a major omission.
Well, if I may just comment, is perhaps that is the problem when we combine June 12th, as we know it originally, and Democracy Day, which is a celebration of the anniversary of the administration. You see, today the president concentrated on what he has done in the last 5 years, or in the last 1 year, as it were, and without talking about paying small attention to June 12th, the contribution of Abiola to the sustenance of democracy.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni. Thank you very much.